Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, your favorite automotive show where we tackle the issues, how to improve the customer experience at your stores. Whether it's the front of the store or the back of the store, doesn't really matter, because the better experience they have, the more they come back to you for everything they need when they need it. And they'll bring their entire tribe, their friends, their family members, people they go to church with, the people they bowl with, everybody. And I had a fun experience this past week. I traversed across Indiana. I had 6 dealer meetings over the week and lots of miles driving through cornfields. But it was very interesting because one night, I forget what town I'm in, but it's that time of day where I start thinking about food, which actually is when I wake up in the morning, but that's another story. So I found a hibachi place right near my hotel. So I went for hibachi. And I love hibachi. That choo-choo train thing never gets old, man. I've got probably hundreds of videos of just that stupid onion going across the thing. So I'm sitting with a family, and they're asking me, he said, "Oh, are you just passing through on business?" I said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am." I said, "I do training at dealerships." "Oh, are you working with any particular OEM?" I said, "Yeah, I'm working with Hyundai right now." And they both smile, and the husband points to her. He says, "She knows a guy." "Oh?" She says, "Yeah, we drive Hyundai. That's all we drive. As a matter of fact, we know a guy. We trust him. We buy all our cars from him." And she points to the eldest daughter. "In 2 years, when this one is of driving age, we're going to go back and buy another car for her from him." The dealership is about an hour from where they live, and there are many dealerships, not just Hyundai dealerships, but other dealerships around there. And they drive past all of them. I posted a picture with the used car manager at the store. And that's the guy. I said, "You know what? You are what I talk about in my training personified. For somebody to have that kind of loyalty that they will drive an hour to come see you. They won't even consider anybody else. And they are already planning their future purchases from you." So I had to meet that guy and shake his hand. It was pretty amazing. So
that's great.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
For the 1 or 2 folks that may not know you, please introduce yourself, starting with Cory, how you started, how you got to this point. Flip it to Erick, and then we'll jump right into it.
All right. My name is Cory Smith. I'm the National Fixed Operations Training Director for EasyCare. I've spent the last 2 decades deeply involved in the service department across the country, whether it's in automotive, RV, or power sports. Started in the car business in 1998. I went from a service advisor, service manager, fixed ops director, did that until 2016. And I've been doing this position for training since then. I like to lead teams into incredible trainings. We've logged thousands of hours, Erick, working alongside service advisors, managers, and dealers principals, as well as hosting our podcast Forward, which has done really well. So I'm really excited about talking about what we're going to do today about the customer experience, how advisors can have new ways to connect with the customers, not by pushing service, but learning and educating it with purpose and leading with trust. So that's my story.
My name's Erick.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
My name is Erick Jauregui. I started in the business over 20 years ago. Started off working in the wash bay as a porter. Learned how to wash cars, learned how to detail cars, learned how to provide the delivery experience for customers, which I never realized when you were bringing up that vehicle and you put extra shine on the tires and you put extra wax, how that was going to connect with me later on in my future. But then I moved into service, moved into the parts department. And from parts, I went into service, started off as a service advisor. We didn't have Express back in the day, but they used to call it a floater. And I was just a fill-in until my opportunity was given to me. And then from there, had some successes, moved down to service manager, 1 store and then multiple stores. Then after that, that's when I really, really hit gold and I found my dream. And it was one of the things I wanted to do was become a trainer, which I was already training at our stores. And then I met Cory. We hit it off. We became great friends / family, because I tell him he's not a friend. He's my family member.
He's my brother.
And from there, became a trainer nationwide. And as you said, we go into automotive, RV, power sports, marine. We do it all. When you're talking about experience and you're talking about service with customers, I think it applies to any industry that you step foot in. As long as you care about the client, as long as you care about the experience, and you like helping and serving people, there is no boundaries in any of these industries.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Let me get to a couple of comments before we keep going. We have our friend from SDL, Jerry Davis, two of the best in our business. Two. What is your screen broken? I think there's three guys here. What's wrong with this guy?
I think it's a given that you're it, Paul.
Training service departments to provide world-class care. Jerry Davis, welcome. That guy, I'm proud of him too, because he's done some great things. And Roger Conant, Houston is in the house. Roger and I spoke recently. And my good friend Gene Girdley is back on LinkedIn.
Yay.
He is one awesome dude. He sent me food pictures today. I have this effect on people, you know. I rub off on them, and people send me food pictures from like all over the place. Jerry Davis says, you guys have changed the game. And Manny Aruda, two of the best. And Jerry Davis, you're the given.
Love Jerry. He's awesome.
There you go.
He's saving him stuff there. So, yeah. All right. So service advisor training, you know, the whole sales model has changed. We've gone from selling people things to becoming educators, so that we help them through a path of self-discovery to discover what's best from them by really making sure that we find out what their needs are, and we offer them the options that'll best serve them for them, right? It's never about us, it's about them. And, you know, the first thing we want to jump in on is why training your trainer matters. And for me, I'm there one day, maybe a couple of days, right? You guys are in the store however many days you go in for. But the rest of the folks that we go in to train, they're there 50 plus weeks a year.
Yeah.
Right? And we can't be there all the time. So we need to have somebody follow up on us, the train the trainer part. So most advisors aren't trained how to sell. They're trained what to sell. So who wants to jump in on this one?
You're going to take this one?
Absolutely. I'll take it. You know, when it comes to training, one of the things that you really have to establish with the person that you're working with is credibility. And that's quickly noticed by the person that you're training. Just think about the times that we're being trained. And one of the things that Cory and I focus on is, even though we're coming in with a topic or a subject matter at mind, you have to have emotional intelligence for the person that you're working with. How does this person learn? What level do they learn at, and how much can they grasp at during this visit? Just because the person isn't going to take on the entire content doesn't mean that they're not a brilliant or great service advisor. So looking at, first of all, analyzing what's in front of you, right? How does this person learn? Is it emotional? Is it laughter? Is it by the book? What do we have to work with on? And then once you figure that part out, is how much am I going to be able to teach this person to make sure there is an overload, as well as not making the person boring or making your class boring. So looking at that at very first day, we always take a day to do this and learn our audience, is going to be number one, to make sure that when you're there, they have the largest possible impact from your visit.
And to jump on that, in addition to everything Eric talked about, we also need to be familiar with how people learn, in as far as, are they visual learners, are they audible learners, or are they kinesthetic learners? Because if you're communicating with them and you don't touch on exactly how they learn, then the information's great, but you can't reach them. So it's very important to I found very important, because at that point you'll be able to pick up what type of a learner they are.
Yeah, 100%. And I say this all the time, especially in class. I could tell you I'm the best communicator in the world, but if you don't comprehend what I'm saying, am I the best communicator in the world? It it goes training. It has to be simple at its core. But you're right, Paul. When we leave, we've got to have somebody there, whether it's a manager or someone that's of leadership, to say, hey, this is what we trained on, and training them. Here's some things that you can do while we're gone. Eric and I are very good at doing that. We leave them, role playing scripts, different scenarios. Do this on a Friday morning meeting, once a week. Have somebody role play, give out some prizes, make it fun, right? Learning should be fun. When you stop learning, you're done, right? Eric and I are always learning. We want to learn multiple things. We're learning AI right now. Before that, it was human behavior and body language, understanding our audience. How we give that training is going to be different depending on the people that we see.
Yeah. I got a few comments, but they're very talkative today. And
good.
Although I have my phone going as well as the platform, because sometimes somebody shows up as LinkedIn user and on the phone it shows up with their actual name. So in this case here, LinkedIn user is a gentleman by the name of Alec Ruffini. He says, always appreciate Erick's ability to teach the concepts with the managers in order to follow up with the advisors so it becomes a habit. Love it. And Roger Conant says, and so many service middle managers and fixed ops don't want to have training steward added to their task. Well, you know what? That's kind of part of your job, right?
Yeah.
It's ongoing. It never changes. And Jerry Davis, informed and transparent customer education is key. We used to sell with the fire hose and take what we could get. Cory and Erick have shown the success of getting on the team of the customer. And Roger says, how can we change the behavior of the advisor of how critical retention is when they aren't really paid for it? But aren't they?
Well,
Could be.
The pay plans, the way the pay plans are set up in most cases, they're set up by two of the words that really change that behavior, and they either lead with sales or gross profit. And unfortunately, if the leaders or the people in charge don't change that behavior and show them the transparency that before sales and gross profit, you have to have the love of helping people, which then translate to gross profits and sales,
right?
Then that's all they're going to be able to see.
100%.
Let's see. We got a couple more. Roger Gutierrez. Simple at its core, absolutely. And Jerry David says, Roger, are they paid on retention? Their future pay depends on those customers coming back. Right. If they don't come back, 100% of nothing is still nothing, right?
Yep.
They have to come back. And Mo Malik is in the house today, here to pick up some nuggets. Welcome, Mo. And on YouTube, we have relaunched. I'm not sure of that account. What is it about AI specifically that you guys are learning right now?
Well, for me, I'm tasked with how can we teach advisors about how to utilize AI, right? And Erick is learning, I believe, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm going to, the prompts and how to really master making new content and having AI make it faster and easier for us to build out that content.
One of the things I wanted to do with AI was be able to translate and remove the fear label that AI is here to overtake. Actually, it's not. AI is here to enhance. AI is here to facilitate. And if we give it the right language, if we talk to it the way we need it to respond, it's going to be that assistant you need, and it's not going to remove you. I'm learning how to utilize it at a higher level, but also how to help people utilize it.
Yeah.
The secret sauce with AI I found, because I'm studying it as well, I've created my first chatbot, which is I wanted to learn how to code, but quite frankly, I'm in 4 different verticals, so my time is somewhat limited, right? I'm on the road a lot. When I get home, this is this week's honey-do list.
I see paintings on there.
Okay. So, but AI is something that I'm learning as well. And I agree with both you gentlemen. It is something to enhance what we are doing. AI will never replace people at the core of it, because, I walk into a dealership, I say hi to the person I know that I've been dealing with for so many years, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to walk in and say, hey, AI, how are you?
It's still a people business. People buy from people they know, love, and trust.
Yeah.
And as advisors, if you can have something that gives you that tool to make you better, 100% would do it. The customer experience is everything. If they leave feeling, I don't want to come back here, they're not going to come back. Steal things from other industries. Disney does it really well. Ritz-Carlton does it really well. Amazon does it really well. They have high retention numbers, and they're the most expensive places to go. You would think the most expensive would only get a few of those customers. You have middle making money people going to Ritz-Carlton or Disney because of the experience. It's how they left. They felt great. I got the most bang for my buck. I paid $500 to walk into this park and get on a couple rides, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When it's all about the experience. Sometimes I'll go to a restaurant, it'll be crazy. I mean, I bought used cars for less, right? But it was such a great experience, I'll go back. And then other times I've gone to places that are not quite the same caliber, and I feel like I've been taken advantage of. It's a horrible thing. And the way dealerships can leverage AI, another way that I've found is that, everybody has their internal dashboards with their OEM to see how their customers currently feel, right? Did I achieve this metric? Did I achieve that one? But one metric a lot of stores don't look at is, what about the people that never come into your store, right? What about those? And those are the folks that will spot off on Google, right? If you look at your Google reviews, it'll tell you what the sentiment of the store is, what the sentiment, who are your good performers in store, who are the ones turning customers away. And let's face it, everybody's busy. You don't have a few hours to read all these reviews. But if you can create a prompt in AI to analyze, hey, how am I doing? What is the customer sentiment? What is the dealer response sentiment? Am I trending upwards, trending downwards? What are the areas that I need to focus on to improve? All those things, you can copy and paste your reviews, and in 1 nanosecond, have a complete report as to where you can attack things from business that you're currently missing that are never making it to your internal survey.
Your average customer is more educated on the services that they need than ever before.
Yeah.
The customers are smarter, they're apprehensive, and more information than they have it right at their fingertips. So they don't want to be sold. They want to understand why something matters. And when the customer understands that why, through feature, advantage, benefit, through education, that's when the customer says, okay, let's do it. When an advisor becomes an educator, they naturally build trust, which leads to higher customer satisfaction, better retention, and guess what? Making more money for the dealership and for the advisor, and the customer is leaving happy. I spent $1,000. Awesome. I'm so happy. Yeah. You don't hear that from customers because they didn't get what they desired, right? They felt like they were tricked or they had to. You did it. My wife said yes because you took advantage of a woman, right? Those things have to change in our industry, and it really starts at the core with the advisor having a different process, a different way of thinking. What's in it for the customer? Erick said it earlier. What's in it for the customer? As long as you can talk what's in it for the customer with feature, advantage, benefit, this has so that you will, you're going to do really well. And you can use this in life, right?
Yeah. That's all they care about. What's in it for them, right? Stop, get off the podium and say, hey, I'm Joe Blow and look how great we are. Nobody cares about that. They want to know what's in it for them, period.
Let's remove all the dealership beauty that there is. Owners spend a ridiculous amount of money to provide that level of experience when you enter into a dealership, right? Millions. Large level of millions in today's market. But then they forget that what's actually speaking and working with their clients, and I call this, there's 3 pressure points whenever you're talking about a sale, there's 3 pressure points. The customer who doesn't want to pay for it, let's call it what it is. Nobody wants to pay something that you can't show, see, fix. They just don't want to pay for it. Then you have the service advisor who has the stress of having to build the estimate, right? So now they're the person that says, okay, I have to face the customer with whatever estimate you bring up. That's the second pressure point. Then you have the management pressure point, which is I have to make sure that this month's numbers meet or exceed year over year. So those three pressure points collide. And what you have to do is you have to make sure that you remove all of that pressure and you train the person who is not only in charge of the customer, which is the advisor, but you also have to train the person who is in charge of the department to be able to say, hey, we have to stay on task, and not day by day, but customer by customer.
Yep. Amen.
Let me get to a couple of comments before we go on here. We were a very talkative group today. Joe Clementi, my other brother from another mother, says, good evening, gentlemen. Cory and Erick, thanks for leading the learning and development discussion, so vital in today's business. And Relaunch says, right on. I would highlight that AI models don't have to run on servers and can produce about 85% effectivity as a no internet download to cater to any business.
Ooh, I like that. And
Mo, he says, AI thinks in logic, although some can be empathetic. Pretty crazy tech. I've heard some converse for appointments set and confirmed. And Linda Hansen, I'll always forget the wonderful gourmet dinner we had out in Ohio. We'll have to do that again, Linda. I'll have to coordinate schedules because I'll be coming to Ohio very soon. She says, AI is a tool to use, but make sure you understand it's not a person, and it all depends on the prompts you give it. The secret sauce is the prompts. And Jerry Davis, we can't lead from fear. We must embrace new ways of thinking. AI is the next tool to use to help us give customers the best experience. Hear, hear. And Relaunch, people do business with people they like. Hey, I heard that somewhere. Roger Conant, yes, Paul, but you have all new knees. Get busy on that list. Yes, I do. And Relaunch has CRM. He says the 2-year-old customer buys with that sweet spot loan to value percent. And Mo said, we're almost caught up here. Don't know if this is off topic, but AI can make a ton of warranty calls and schedule appointments, freeing up valuable time. It can, and they're not all created equal.
No.
And almost caught up here. Linda Hansen, have your basics down first. AI can't fix a broken process nor a poisoned employee.
Amen, Linda. Amen.
Oh, yeah, she gets the Cupid doll today, man. Roger Conant, the new training platform for Ford University has what I call virtual role play. You know, it's funny because we're going to get into role play in just a moment here. Ooh. Virtual role play where the trainee can practice as much as they want without any human being involved. And Joe Clementi, AI has tremendous value when it comes to improving process. Where it falls short is in shaping culture, defining purpose, and helping employees align with these values. 100%. Although I would argue, if we gave it the right prompt and we started a conversation that way, if we trained it properly, I bet you it could do a lot of that very well. Linda said, anytime, Paul, and just 2 more and then we're caught up. Proclaim_NB. I'm working for a pool and spa dealership as we speak. They use a custom AI program right now to do their insurance claims. The program is doing all the time-consuming work for them, but each time the customer calls them to get infos about their claim, they don't know anything about it. The AI made them, so they are not reading anything about the claim. That is a very important point to consider. And I guess that we have so many comments, we just need to get back into the show because otherwise, sometimes we have little conversations, sometimes we have a lot of conversations.
Well, this is a great topic, Paul. Yeah. I mean, it's really most dealers make a huge mistake. They treat training like an event instead of a process, right?
Right.
I'll have dealers all the time. Okay, we want you to do training on this topic. Great. What are you going to do once I leave, right? Oh, I'm good at what I do, right? I'm not that good. You'll get a spike after I leave, and then it's going to go right back down to where it was.
Right.
It can't be a one and done training. It won't stick. Training has to be ongoing, reinforced by leadership, and most importantly, relatable to the advisor, to the day-to-day experience. If the advisor is just sitting there and the class is boring, it has nothing to do with their job, they're out, totally out. No matter how great you are as a speaker, they don't care. But if you can relate to them and say, listen, that's a pain point. I used to have to go through that. This is how I fixed it. Try it. See if it works for you.
What about role play?
Role play is one of those areas where, look, a majority of the classes that we go into,
we do it, and they don't like it.
They don't like it. But if you identify, before you get into role play, if you identify why they don't like it, as much as when we get called in, like they're not doing walkarounds. We need training on walkarounds. Is it the walkaround, or is there something else further that we need to diagnose that'll get them to do that walkaround? Sometimes it's not the walkaround, right? It's a step that they're skipping because it makes them faster, better in another area. So being able to diagnose those things. So when it comes to role play, we're very hands-on. We're very direct when it comes to it. And we say, hey, we're going to do role play. And it happens right at the beginning of class. So you can rip that Band-Aid off and you can say, all right, now we're going to focus.
We talk about all the fun things that we're going to do. And, oh, by the way, we're going to do some role playing. And you get that, oh, you can see it in their body language. I tell the class, listen, when I was an advisor, this is what I was making. And I wanted more. And how I got more was when I came home, the person I role played with was my worst customer. I did role play. I walked around in my driveway, did a walk around on the vehicle. I didn't sell an O2 sensor. So I came home and said, hey, be a customer and just say no to everything, right? That makes you better. It's hands-on. Role-playing drives and is tied to real metrics. A great program as trainers, not just a process, but human connection. How to greet, how to listen. You have 2 ears for a reason, right? How to walk the customer to the car and explain the MPI in a professional manner, combined with what we do in the classroom, live coaching. We record our role playing. We get really uncomfortable. If you truly want to grow, if you want to make as much money as you possibly can, we can help you get there. I got there. I was working at a dealership in Podunk, Maine, making $150,000 doing the stuff that we teach them. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how you feel about this. Role play. You announced the role play.
Mm-hmm.
You ever just drop a role play on them?
I think we've done it a couple times, Eric.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about it. I got some, we give out prizes of unspeakable value, and that gets them all laughing. So who wants to earn some prizes? And two people raise their hand. I'm like, all right, you're going to be the customer. You're going to be the advisor. We're going to do a role play. And they're like, okay. The look on their face is priceless.
We had a big management class. It was 60 managers in the class, managers and directors, and they weren't expecting it. And right as all right, every single manager, we want to see how you do a walk around. And everybody's like, what? Yes, if your team's good, if we're going to train your teams how to do walk arounds, we want to see how you do walk arounds. And it was like, let's go, right? It's funny you mentioned role play because even as a trainer, I work on role play. I still do role play. When I get to the hotels, I'm practicing what I'm doing the day before, but I practice, now he's 8, with my 8-year-old son. He was 6, 7 years old, and I've been bringing him up through just, hey, help dad so he can learn. Right before we started this podcast, my son runs into the office, sits down in my chair, acts like he's putting on his headphones and goes, I'm role playing like that. So maybe they won't know that it's you, that it's not you, right? And that's the environment that he's used to. But you have to, if you love what you do and you want to succeed, there is no way out of not practicing.
You know what I like? You have to always be adapting, right? No two people are exactly the same. And I totally get where you're coming from when you say you're going to role play and everybody's rolling their eyes back. I get the same look of excitement when I announced to a dealer at the beginning of the meeting that there were going to be we have a 3-hour meeting scheduled. I don't take breaks. If you need to excuse yourself to go to the bathroom, you have a minute and a half. Okay, I go straight through because we have a lot of stuff to cover, right? But yet, when you get into it, 3 hours later, they're still raring to go. And it's like, I gotta go. I have another store I have to get to, and I've got almost an hour's drive to get there, right? The other thing I like about dropping the unannounced role play, and it puts them on the spot, but it's really good at illustrating a point, right? So I'll ask them, so look, customers can buy anywhere today. Why should they buy from you? Go. And oftentimes they struggle. I said, well, I kind of put you on the spot, but it's really no different than the next customer that walks in the door.
No.
Right? So if you can't give me an answer, can your salespeople give me an answer? Can your advisors give me an answer? I'm going to say probably not.
No, if they don't, if you don't know, they definitely don't know. And
yeah,
we talk about it in our class all the time, Eric. We tell the customer a story. Everybody likes a good story.
Yeah.
And use power words. I can't stress that enough. Stop saying words like, well, you might want to do that, or you should do that. Get rid of all that ambiguity and cut right down to the facts. This is the facts, and use power words. Required based on the manufacturer and the mileage that you're at right now is to replace these spark plugs. Boom. Get into the love language of that customer, why they bought the car. What's their hot button? What do you like about this car? Oh, I like it because it has 42 different airbags. Awesome. They want safety. So guess what? When that customer says that, I'm going to tell them, hey, you need brakes. In order to keep your family safe, these brakes are important. It's $600. Do you want to do it? Oh, yeah. As luck would have it, we had time to do it in our schedule today. Done.
What I like too is that it's not you trying to sell them something. I love the OEM, right? The OEM who built your car recommends at this mileage point, the following items need to be changed or replaced. And here's why. Here's how you benefit. Like the cabin filter, right? Sure, you can get a cabin filter on Amazon for what, $30? You'll pay $100 plus at the dealership to have it put in most places. But if you explain to them, hey, you watch TV, right? You guys watch TV?
Yep.
You ever see any allergy commercials?
Oh, yeah.
How many do you see? Because people suffer from allergies. This air filter, you show them a clean one, you show them a dirty one. This is what you're breathing. Might they understand it better? And just, yeah, that makes total sense.
Now, if you replace recommend with required, that you're changing that customer's perception. I need it. I have to have it. It's required, right? And Eric and I talk about this in our classes. Are taxes recommended to be paid, or are they required to be paid?
It changes everything.
Changes everything, right? Recommend means I have a choice. Required means I don't have a choice, right? That's a power word.
One of the most people have heard me say this, but one of the things that we work with is not selling to the customer, because I believe you only sell one time. After that, you'll never sell again. Yeah. But when you change that to the customer buying from you, that changes everything. And if you can have your staff understand what it's like to have a customer buy from you, the customer will always buy from you.
Mm-hmm.
So breaking that barrier between the manager saying, hey, I need these people to sell more, teach them how to sell. It's no, we need to teach your people how to have your customers buy from you, but not buy once. They need to buy a lifetime. And that's where the magic happens in the relationship between customer and dealership. Every time they go by in front of the store, they go, my guy Cory's in there. He takes care of me every single time. And they hope that every time they drive in, Cory's at the front of the desk saying, there's a sense of comfort when you drive into the dealership and you see the person who helped you last time in the service drive, and you appreciated that experience. There's a sense of relief that automatically has the customer say, I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Whether customers or advisors, I should say, realize this or not, they're on stage. You need to give the customer the best of yourself. And if you're uncomfortable with selling, a lot of advisors say, I'm not a salesperson. And when in fact you are the best salesperson, but you got to do it in a way that is educating first. Selling product, you want to be able to fix a problem. I use word tracks and scenarios to build that confidence with the advisor. And I always tell them, if it were your mom's car, what would you want her to skip in this service? That reframes the conversation instantly. When the advisor talks like that, and they're educating the customer of why this fuel service needs to be replaced or needs to be done, and they can make it relatable. Have you ever seen a Drano commercial? Yes, right? Our fuel product is just like that. We pour a liquid solution in your gas tank, one in your engine oil, and a pressurized line that goes through your fuel rails and your injectors. It cleans up all that stuff. You'll get better gas mileage, better performance out of the vehicle, and your inner working components will last longer. The total to do that service is $180. As luck would have it, we have time to do it on our schedule today. Mic drop.
Very straightforward. This is on John Schomburg, says, role play is the most valuable tool in training there is. I have to look up the LinkedIn users on my phone, and there's the thread's going crazy today. Oh, Kenneth. Did Paul Meijer say role play? Come on, man. This is a family show.
It's not the role play I signed up for, but let's do it.
No. Jerry Davis, most failure in process is misplaced, that they don't have time. They will make time. I had a dealer the other day tell me, look, I have 15 minutes. That's it, because I got a lot of things on my plate. I've got a busy day. A dealer principal, they are busy. And guess what? At the 3 hour and 15-minute mark, I reached across the table and I shook his hand and thanked him for his 15 minutes. Okay? So Jerry Davis, yes, they have the time if they see value, and they will make the time. Linda Hansen, people don't really learn when they are in their comfort zone. Mix it up and make them uncomfortable. You know, I tell people all the time, you need to make some mistakes, because it's from the mistakes that you will learn, right? When people go to medical school and they do their residency, they are given such leeway to make mistakes. And we're talking with people's lives, because they understand that that's how they learn. And LinkedIn user, who is this LinkedIn user now? Let's see here. Alec Raffini says, advisors get weirded out when you ask them to ask for permission. They thought being they came here, they should have what the process is, be in the rookie customer footsteps. They only do it a couple of times a year.
Yeah, 100%. I like that.
You know, Paul, one of the things that we look at is you have to make sure you don't confuse training / coaching along with leaders, along with management and directors. Those are three different areas. In order to run a department, yes, you need the manager / director to run your day-to-day operations. But those managers and directors, we have a leadership class, and one of the things that we help them with is understanding leadership and coaching, because those are two completely different areas, right? And when it comes to role play, one small bit of advice that I can give you is, if you are a manager or a director of one store or multiple stores, you need to be walking in front of your staff weekly, if not a daily basis, and ask them different types of role play scenarios right in front of their work environment, right in front of the desk, right in front of the service drive. Hey, if I need a tire, what would you do? Hey, if I came in right now and you seen oil leaking out of my car and I didn't have an appointment, how would you handle me? And that's just a small way, number one, to see if your staff needs to be leveled up on training, or two, maybe it's a process in your store and it's not the staff. So if you can take that bit of information and apply it to your weekly, I ask you to do it daily, you're going to see staff improvement almost immediately.
That's brilliant.
Eric, absolutely.
Because
I love that.
You teach them how to act, how to react in real time, right? Because scenarios happen, they're unannounced. Let's face it. Customer comes storming in because the check engine light's on. You've got 40 appointments waiting. You have another 30 people that showed up. You need to be prepared for any contingency. It's why SEAL teams do so well, right? Because they
Because
train
they practice every scenario possible.
every scenario.
And we don't do that in the service drive. And when you start doing that, you're leveling up, like Eric said. Absolutely. I worked with an advisor over the course of 3 or 4 months who used to avoid customers, just handing them paperwork and saying, see you later, right? After a few coaching sessions, daily role plays, he was leading walkarounds, explaining fluids with confidence, and his hours per row doubled. It changed the trajectory of his whole career. I think Eric, if we remember correctly, he's on pace to do like $18,000 extra in his paycheck just by doing a walk around. And we tell advisors all the time, who wants to make an extra $10,000 a year? They all raise their hand. Doing a walk around will do that.
He now has a new house that he just bought and a new BMW too.
Yeah.
And not just doing a walk around, but doing an effective walk around involving the customer, right? Don't have the customer behind the glass watching you take pictures of their car, having them think that you're taking pictures of their car because you think they're going to try to pull a fast one on you.
Yep.
Right. Have your tire conversation with that walk around. Right. And another simple thing that a lot of people don't think about. We walk around the car, not to try to bag them, but you ever have a rock kick up on your car while you're driving, Eric or Cory?
Oh, yeah. It drives me nuts.
Right.
I instantly want to get it fixed.
You can just hear it.
Happens to them too. So when we're doing our walk around, if we can catch a fresh chip, that's what, $25, $27 bottle of touch-up paint, as opposed to not checking it with the customer. We're not getting the trust from them and say, hey, you know what? Good thing we did this check here, because you've got a fresh chip bottle of touch-up paint, $25 in the parts department, as opposed to not catching it, getting premature rust. Now you're sanding, now you're putting filler, now you're painting the door, blending it into the fender, blending it into the quarter. You go from a $25 bottle to what, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 repair.
Yeah, and this all goes back to leading with purpose with the customer. We're not here if the customer doesn't come through the door. Advisors forget about that because they get beat up by the technician, the manufacturer, the customers. The customer doesn't want to be there. They'd rather have a root canal than come to the dealership. But if we can give them a great experience and meet them with kindness and educate them and make them a priority, they're going to keep coming back. We love using real scenarios to role play to improve advisor communication. I love using real objections. We ask for it when we're in our classes. What'd you have today? We had one that we did a month or so ago that talked about, I tried to sell them an alignment. The customer said, I just got new tires. Okay. Or I'll do it next time. We scripted out. We practiced tonality. You have to have the tone down. I've been diagnosed with RBF, right? I have to tell myself, hey, I got to smile, because it changes your whole tone of how you talk. And then we switch to role playing that experience. And if the customer's on that customer's side, then we do it again and again and again until it feels natural. That's how actors do it.
Yeah.
You're no different. You just got to learn your script.
Now, I just want to jump in here for a second. There's a lot of comments coming through here. So some of these we'll get to after the show. We'll respond in the thread. There's a lot of great stuff here. And Roger says, speaking of walkarounds, are the new tire scanning tech tools giving the advisor to either eliminate the walkaround or shorten it? Are you seeing, what are you seeing out there?
With the tire scanners, one of the areas that I'm looking at is giving the advisor an additional task. If you look at what a majority of the walkaround should be, it should be the time that the advisor builds a relationship with the customer. And if not trained properly before we just hand out this amazing expensive technology, once again, to an advisor, they're going to look at it as an extra task. They will solely focus on making sure the technology is working on and forget about everything else because it's just one more thing I have to do. Right. So although we can speak on the side of, I could sit here and argue on the other side of it, that tires do this, the tires do that, and the scanner's the best idea in the world. Again, none of that is the best idea in the world until you have a relationship established with the customer.
Right.
So training that tire scanner as a secondary or not even a secondary part of your walk around is going to be key. It's all on how you train the advisors. But most of the advisors, I've seen it, I think in 3 or 4 of the drives I've been in, they look at it as an extra task and an extra tool they have to walk around with.
Yeah, it needs to be part of, just an enhancement. The other part of that is you want to meet the customer where they're at, right? Not every customer is going to be able to do a walk around. I've got a business meeting. Here's my keys, right? Can we take our smartphone or our iPad out and do a video walk around, upload that onto Google Drive, send that to the customer link saying, hey, I did a walk around, and pretend that they're there, pop the hoods, turn the wheels, all that stuff? Yes. If the mom gets out of the van and she's got 6 kids hanging from her arm, don't do a walk around with her. Show her around, show her where the restrooms are, where the cookies are, and where the waiting room is, and do a video walk around for her.
And tell her that you're going to do it and that you're going to send it to her so she's prepared for it.
Yes. We have to give the customer, almost like a small child, hey, if you do that, we're going to do this, this, and this today. And if you're good, we're going to get ice cream. Okay, Johnny, you ready? Here we go. And that's what you're doing with the customer. Yeah. They don't know the play. You're the coach. You need to give it to them. And if you don't own it, if you don't take the initiative and you just let things lie where they lie, you're going to get what you always got. Poor CSI, customer doesn't want to talk to you. They don't want to buy from you. What am I doing wrong? Those are the things you're doing wrong. Now, keep it simple.
As much as we teach process, the critical part of the process is measuring success, right? Because what gets tracked gets improved. If we don't measure and we don't keep an eye on the KPIs that we need to keep an eye on, then we're not going to make any progress, right?
100%. No, we're not going to make any progress.
What are some of the KPIs you guys look at?
KPIs is CP hours. We really have adopted selling hours over just a widget. Looking at CP hours per repair order, video MPIs sent rate, closing ratios on decline work. How many declines are you having? Are you keeping track of them? We need to, and then we can train on those. But I also asked the advisor directly, how confident do you feel now versus last month? Confidence is the leading indicator of these results. If they don't understand their pay plans, they don't understand how to get the hours, they're never going to get them. And they're not going to raise their hand saying, I don't understand, because they don't want to look like an idiot in front of their peers or even their boss.
Yeah, the areas that with advisors that, and I'm sorry, I was looking at that comment right now when he came up with the yeah, that's an amazing machine. Advisors too many times don't know metrics. Too many times. This is going to surprise you, but this is true. They don't know pay plans. They don't know their own pay plans.
Isn't that crazy?
And when you talk to, when you're in a class and somebody says, yeah, I've been doing this for 3 years, I've been doing this for 5 years, and you go, okay, tell me the definition of effective labor rate, or tell me the definition, and they're just, and they don't know. That's when you have to understand that it's not the advisor's fault. It's the, I'm going to just call it right now, it's the leadership that hasn't sat down and trained them. What is effective labor rate? What does it mean to us? What is the amount of hours that we have available in our store? And how do I play a part in that, right? Not just technicians. No, hours are about an entire team. And how do I affect the hours based on the relationships I build? Again, based on the walkarounds and in the process that I keep it in. All of that matters, but advisors too many times, I would probably say it's way above 50% that I'll ask them, give me the definition of effective labor rate or tell me what your pay plan is, and I don't get a response.
Yeah. Another thing that happens also a lot, the service advisor's job is a very demanding one, right? But make no mistake about it. If you want to get optimal results, you need to set it up properly, because if you set it up properly, you will save yourself a boatload of butthurt. Okay, you got a drive full of people coming in, and you've got 5 advisors all firing on all cylinders, asking customers, "Hey, what time do you want the car by?" And all the customers say, "I want my car back by 10 a.m." And they all nod their head. Are we setting ourselves up for failure? Right? Because we can't necessarily honor that, and we don't necessarily know what the other advisors' promises are or what their work schedule is. So I find just a little tweak, instead of asking them what time they want the car back, I say, because they don't know what's going on in the shop, right? They don't know what's left over. They don't know how many cars got in before them. Based on the current workload we have in the shop, we anticipate we should be able to get to your car between 11 and 12. You'll hear from us no later than 12 o'clock with a status update and a multi-point inspection that will detail everything that we found, and we'll go over that with you. So you go to work, you go home, you focus on your life, we'll take care of the rest. We want to get the car through the shop faster than you do. So that avoids a whole lot of incoming stat calls so that you're able to perform better.
Absolutely. The information, how advisors are taught, in some cases, I won't say all, but in some cases, how advisors are taught to relay some of these messages is through errors, is through mistakes, is through getting yelled at by the customer. And then they figure out a rhythm that maybe works for them 80% of the time, but that other 20% of the time, you have customers leaving, you have CSI going out the window, you have retention numbers, lack of hours being purchased from your store, and customers not coming back. So we don't quite focus on, is it the advisor's fault? We remove fault from the system, and we inject, why don't they know it, and let's teach them. That's the area that we go into, taking blame and fault out of it, and actually teaching somebody why and how it matters is going to be key to turning these industries and service departments around, so that customers don't want to go to the aftermarket shops, and they know that the only place to go is to the dealership.
Yet 7 in 10 go to the aftermarket.
Yeah. That needs to stop, because customers are keeping their vehicles longer. The average customer is keeping it 13 years. I don't know about you, Paul, but after that all those 13 years, their average spending every time they come in the service department is $700. I don't know about you, but I want that $700.
Yeah.
And if you tell me I can do it by doing these little things that Eric and I are talking about, the role playing, the walking around the vehicle, treating the customer with purpose, right? That's the secret sauce, everyone. Managers, jump on this. Walk around in the drive. Coach daily. Eric did it, right? Hold your advisors accountable. The training dies when we walk away, then you're going to get what you always got. I'll always say it. If you want an advisor to care about the walk around, the manager has to care about the walk around too. Lead by example.
Earlier in the year, we were in North Carolina on a very cold, snowy
Oh my
day.
God. To the point where I had to go buy a coat. I was freezing.
It was so cold. But we're teaching a class, and the advisor really into the class, but says, look, I don't know if that can be done. So just out of the blues, you talk about role play. This was role play in life. I go, I take this next car coming in. And he right off the bat goes, never buys anything.
Yeah.
Nope.
Negative mindset.
Come on.
So I go through, and as I'm doing the walk around, I'm working with the customer. The customer ends up buying, I think, every single service I put in front of him. All right. He goes, how did you do that? So we go over it. The next customer comes in, and I start doing the walk around again in the exact same setup, same process that we train. And he takes over. He puts himself right in the middle of the walk around and just takes it, and had another successful experience with the customer. Looks over and goes, I'm doing that from now on. But that was leading by example. That's saying, all right, hey, watch me. He was a person that learned by seeing somebody do it, and not by me going up into a classroom and saying that. No, he had to see it live. And after that, we trained his manager. I said, you have to do this for your team.
Advisors don't know how to do a walk around, right? So if we show them how to do one.
The beauty here is that we're not sure how they learn, so we explore all ways to communicate to them. And for that person, they had to see it in order to jump in and be able to do it, and then they were successful. If we skip that very simple step, we may miss somebody, right? It's like when you're onboarding somebody. I ask, do you have a career path? what does training look like? What does onboarding look like beyond signing the papers and giving them the logins? Okay. I'm a firm believer in, hey, over the next 30, 60, 90, 120 days, we're going to help you get to these specific levels of proficiency, and we're going to check in each time to make sure. And guess what? If we're at the 60-day point and they're not where they need to be, I'm not going to point the finger. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? How can I better support you as a leader? Because I was hoping to get you to this point. I'm off just a little bit. How can I better support you to get to these levels, right? It's a whole different way of communication.
And Paul, here's a very powerful thing. Another thing I'm going to leave for managers and leaders. Here's a very powerful thing you can have an effect on your team starting immediately. No matter how much you want to correct it, no matter how much you think you can improve it, just say good job, great job, and improve the confidence in your advisor will give you a higher ROI than if you try to fix every single 1% of that advisor. Sometimes just by saying, hey, great job. It will increase their confidence, which will make somebody want to go out and work harder from you. I learned that from the guy here in this other next to the screen over here.
I always say that's a great question, and it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me tell you something. I do hiring and retention workshops. 94% of people will stay longer in a job if they feel that you care and you're investing in upskilling them. Think about that. Yeah. Right to Erick's point.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I did to Erick when we hired him. I'm like, hey, you've never been out of the dealership before. What did I do? I hired a coach for you because I knew it was going to be hard, because I went through those pains of being outside of the dealership, not going from point A to point B. Now, all of a sudden, I'm in my office or I'm on the road. Am I doing a good job? Am I worthy? Right? All those insecurities come out, and also in an advisor. Do I really know what I'm doing, or am I just faking it until I make it? Right? I don't want you to fake it till you make it. Part of this class is to help you get there.
Yeah. I'm not sure who this LinkedIn user is. There's so many comments that oh, wait a minute. This one is John Schomburg. It says, spot on, Paul. How many reps advisors can speak the why of the dealership?
Mm-hmm.
And, on advisors, who was it? Our diesel tech guy, who's Marshall.
Oh, Marshall. Yeah.
He had an interesting post about, consultants, right? They're not all created equal.
We have a whole class on the why, literally a whole class on just that, the why. That's how much that means to us.
Yeah.
If you don't know the why, you're not going to get the results. Roger Gutierrez, so many advisors get stuck in the ugly routine. Did you have an appointment today?
Oh my God.
Oh, that hurts.
That's a classic one. How many times do you hear that?
Roger. Nice job, Roger. Thanks. Now I'm going to have nightmares on that.
An hour seems like a long time, but it really is not a long time at all. And it looks as though we've come to that point in the show. Gentlemen, are there any last words or points you want to leave us with?
I'll leave you with this. Role playing will change your drive. It will change your mindset for your advisors. Easy. I'd make role playing a daily habit. Just 5 minutes a day. It builds culture, sharpens skills, and turns average advisors into all-stars. The best departments I've worked with treat role-playing like brushing their teeth. It's just part of the routine.
And for me, it's make practice your culture. Show your team that you practice more, that you do at your craft so that they can follow the leader. Make practice your culture.
I love it. Gentlemen, thank you. We have so many comments. If you guys could help me respond to some of the comments after the show, that would be greatly appreciated. We will get to all of them, I promise. To those watching live, thank you. To those watching, that's Oreo in the background. He just came in.
Heard her.
To those watching on the replay, thank you. I hope you have a safe and successful next week. Next week, we bring my friend Frank Knox to the show. We're going to talk about acquiring used cars, which is getting tougher and tougher every day. And Frank is an expert in that field. So gentlemen, stay on after we go off here. I promise we will get to those comments afterwards. Have a safe and successful next week. And we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live. Thanks for watching.